Welcome back to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. I am your host, Jack, and tonight I am joined by Charlie. Calvin's still taking a wee break out from the podcast, but I'm joined by Charlie tonight. How are you, Charlie?
Good, mate. I just still in celebratory mode after our second famous 0-0 victory of the season against the St Mirren Game, mate. So I'm doing all right. Aye, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm still celebrating the draw as well. This time it wasn't Robbie Nielsen's garage that I woke up in. It was Anne Bludgeon's. So anyway, yeah, it was a great night at the Derby. I'm feeling good. Atmosphere was electric. Best I've seen Easter Road for a long, long time. And certainly the best since we've come back from COVID. And yeah, it was a brilliant night all round. So I had a great time. And I've got to say, for a 0-0 draw, it was a pretty exciting game of football, which we'll touch on as we go through it. So, of course, we'll just jump right into it. And we're going to review our 0-0 win, draw against Hearts. So, where do we begin? Well, the starting 11. Starting 11 comes out, of course, we were in the Iona bar by then. So I think a few of us were 2 sheets to the wind when the starting 11 came out. But we'll still talk about it anyway. Charlie, what were your thoughts when you saw the starting lineup?
Pretty expected, apart from Dabrowski starting. But we'll obviously come on to that in a wee bit. But no, apart from that, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Nice to see Campbell drop. Nice to see Newell and Doyle Hayes played together, because I think they had a point to prove starting together again, because there's been murmurs online, and I think I've said it as well, that the two of them can't play together. So I think it was it was exactly what I thought it was going to be for the Derby.
Yeah, I was the same. I sort of saw the lineup a bit later than everybody else, because I was seeing a lot of people that I know. Mr. Popular. I was Mr. Popular down at Iona bar, seeing other people I know, but having a good sing-song as well. But yeah, I looked at it and I was surprised that Macy didn't even make the bench, to be honest. So I don't know whether he's fallen out with Maloney or it's an injury or what, but Mitchell obviously was on the bench. David Mitchell, not Dimitri. I would be worried if he was suddenly became our substitute goalkeeper. But yeah, I think I was sitting there going, I've said I want Dabrowski to start all this time, but I'm scared, because I was genuinely sitting there, have we got a Zibby Mark II on our hands, or is it too much of a big game for him to come into? But as we'll touch on, he really stepped up. He really did step up. But yeah, I was really surprised to see Dabrowski, but fair play to Maloney, because I think there isn't many managers in the past that would be brave enough to go, if a goalkeeper's not in form, to drop them for a derby, especially since Dabrowski's not played a competitive senior game of football for us before. So it was a big call from Maloney, and one that turned out to really come good. But yeah, apart from that, expected. Glad to see Campbell dropped. I think after his mistakes against Celtic and Livy, he had to be. I don't think Maloney really had a choice there. I'm glad Maloney did also a bit of shuffling the pack as well. A wee, which, mucking about with, which I think is good, because he's still trying to figure out what his strongest 11 is. So I think it was good to see him shuffle the pack a wee bit. And yeah, I was quite happy with that lineup. So move on. And how did we start for you, Charlie? Obviously, first half, we were sort of the stronger team, playing with a good amount of intensity, really making Hearts sweat. So what are your thoughts on the first half, and what are your thoughts on our start to the game?
I thought we come out the traps pretty good. I think obviously at Derby, it takes a wee bit of time to get the ball down and get going. But no, I think we started really well. I was really happy with it. It's obviously just a case of it's Maloney's first Derby, so he's obviously instructed him to play a similar style of football than we're used to seeing with him. But no, I think we started really well, mate. I was impressed with there was no real goal threat from Hearts when they were coming forward in the first wee bit, or actually the whole night, I felt. But no, I think we started well. Had no complaints really.
I was the same. I thought we were really good in the first half. I was just so unfortunate with the disallowed goal as well. I got my leg all scratched up for nothing. So cheers, Lino. I still got a big bruise there, by the way. Just imagine if it had actually been allowed to stand, it would have been a lot worse. But yeah, I think the disallowed goal was a weird one for me, to be honest, because it looks like he was on. To me, it looks like, I think it was Dodge that got the last touch on. It looks like Dodge was on to me marginally. It was marginal, but it does look like Dodge was on. So
the linesman guessed. There's no two ways about it. Obviously they don't have the ability to see it again. They're just going on real time, but the linesman guessed that's definitely onside.
It is onside, and I had a lot of jambos. I met two of my old mates from school who are Hearts fans on the train, saying they were shocked that was disallowed as well. But I was shocked that Lionel did get. There was about 2 Hearts players playing him on. I think it was one of those silly ones, but it is what it is. Not every decision's going to go your way, as we'll learn, because there's quite a few on their side that I think were a bit. But I thought we were great, solid at the back, and that was the thing that I was saying we needed to be in that game. Absolutely solid. Rocky and Porteous absolutely ran the show. Stevenson as well. I thought Stevenson was absolutely heroic, Mr. Hibs. And I tell you what, and I've said this before about him, captain's armband, I think he should keep that. Even when Hanlon's fit, I think Stevenson should keep it if he's starting, because showed a real leadership that we needed there last night. So I think I couldn't fault the back line. Cadden, Porteous, Rocky, Stevenson, they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They really were outstanding for me and putting a solid performance. I thought the midfield was solid as well. I thought Joe Newell, especially in the first half, he was a trooper. And again, he's a player that I usually don't have much to say about, but he was absolutely fantastic for me. So yeah, I was happy with the first half. At halftime, I was thinking, you know what, if we can just maybe create a bit more, we're going places in this game. I really thought that, because we were, and Hearts were offering nothing up front for me, to be honest. Absolutely.
The only time they did offer something was when Cammy Devlin, apparently the best midfielder in the country, who let me remind the Hearts fans who might be listening to this that the only 2 times I've seen him do anything in that game, he was on his arse getting picked up. So, did you see his interview before the game? That was one thing I wanted to say. He's saying, I'll put in all the bad tackles if I need to, but he was Newell's bitch the whole game. But no, I think they obviously they never offered anything.
No, they didn't to me.
In the first half anyway.
In the first, we'll get on the second.
I wasn't concerned at all by every time they went forward.
Yeah, I think we were good at neutralising the threats that they posed, to be honest. And like I said, the midfield were heroic. JDH had one of his better games as well, to be honest.
Both him and Newell in the first half were very good. First in most balls, and looked like they had a bit of fight about them, which is what we want for our midfield in a derby. Like, how many games have we been bullied in the first half by Hearts, and that sets the pace? I really think that they stepped up and they had a bit of fight and desire about them, which is good. I think that's what we wanted.
Yeah, it's good to see players step up when they're needed as well. I think you need, like we were talking about, we need the midfield against Hearts to be on point, and they were. So we'll sort of talk about, we've already sort of covered what players stood out to us, but I wanted to actually focus on Dabrowski, Porteous and Stevenson a bit more, because they were the 3 that really stood out to me in the game. I thought Dabrowski was fantastic. I want to pick up one. It was chance Hearts had in the second half, and Dabrowski got down really well to sort of parry it away. And I think, and I sort of piggybacking off of what Liam for Down the Slope said, Liam made a really good point. I really reckon Macy would have been beaten by that, because he's been beaten at his near post a lot this season. And I don't think Macy's as quick to react to a lot of those. Kevin's reaction times were absolutely outstanding. And I've got to say, for a young keeper that's hardly played, to be started in Edinburgh Derby, he could have easily let the nerves get to him and made quite a few mistakes. He didn't. He was on point. And even with the back pass, I've got to say he handled that quite well. And I'll tell you for why. Because he had no option other than to touch that. The way that was going back, you were risking a goal there. Now, I think, obviously, as Kevin's went, right, if I touch it, at least it's an indirect free kick and I don't risk a penalty or them scoring. And because with a free kick, they can easily just blast it into the wall or over the bar, or he can save it. So I think he made an excellent choice there. He put himself on the line, because he could have easily been booked for that. And the referee would have been within his rights to book him. And he made the split-second decision, and then obviously Hearts just pumped it right into the wall. It was, and I'm not just saying this, taking the green tinted specs off for a second. Listen, that is one of the worst free kicks I've seen. At least Nisbets make it over the wall. They usually go over the bar as well, but at least they make it over the wall. So I've got to say, Dabrowski's decision making, his distribution, the way he was commanding his box, I thought it was all on point, and he deserved that Player of the Match award as well. I utterly deserved it. Stevenson and Porteous both absolute rocks at the back. I think our good mate Reindeer Hot Dog obviously put on Porteous' heat map from the game, and it just showed you he was absolutely solid at the back, like everything. everything Porteous was managing just to sweep it up. So I think it was brilliant. Big Rocky as well for me was another standard. He's seen his boots after the game. That was his first taste of Edinburgh Derby. But I tell you, and when we've needed a player, we needed a defender like him for a long time. And I think it shows you how good that defence will really be once you get Clark fitting in there as well. So those were my standouts. And Stevenson, what a warrior. What a warrior. He's been in so many Edinburgh Derbies before. And he just came good again. He knows what the fixture means. And he was in there, I think, a Hearts fans, he was public enemy number one in Gorgie with the penalty claim, which we'll come on to later. But I thought Stevenson was absolutely outstanding. And that's why he's called Mr. Hibs. And I see a lot of folk writing him off. And I tell you what, he might be old, but the old dog, he has new tricks. Because every game Stevenson's playing like he's the young player that he used to be. I think that's it. I've said it so many times this season. I've said it since the Rijeka game, that he's rolling back the years. Every time we play Stevenson, he plays fantastically. Wasn't afraid to drive forward, physical, getting in there. He's Mr. Hibs and he knew what the fixture meant. The passion for him and Dabrowski and Porteous was absolutely amazing. And it's guys like that we needed that know what the fixture means. Dabrowski, think about it, he was born in Poland, but it's like he's, and I think in a previous life he was a leader. Because honestly, the way he was speaking, brought a tear to my eye. Because he deserved it. He deserved that moment, and he was absolutely heroic. It's not often we say goalkeepers step up in derbies, but I've got to say him and Emily Much. If you've seen my tweet, him and Emily Much both stepped up, and that's what I thought. I thought he's very like Emily in that sense that he's hardly got to play. He's been given the shout in a big game, and he's stepped up and he's put in a heroic performance. Obviously, Emily had it with saving the penalty. He had it with keeping the clean sheet and making some what were pretty crucial saves, to be honest, that I don't think Macy would have made. So for me, those are my standout players. Charlie, who stood out for you?
Are we going first half or the whole game?
Well, we'll just go for the whole game, mate.
We'll do it definitely. We'll do that, then talk about the second half. I like it. I think Neil really stood out to me. Sort of not to piggyback on what you said, because I agree with everything you said, Jack, but Newell for me was a man possessed. Everything. He fought for every ball. He was going into tackles and he was winning the ball, and just he wasn't getting the ball away that often as well. I think he probably had his best game in a long time for us. I felt really stood out to me. Him, and you've got to touch on Dabrowski. Like what a player. I think the number 1 jersey's his to lose now. I think. Can't I see Matt Macy getting that back anytime soon unless Dabrowski makes a big clanger, which is really what I think it'll take for him to lose that jersey. I think he'll hopefully start on Saturday. If I was picking the team, he's first night on the team sheet after Tuesday night there. So no, I think all in all, I think everyone really pulled their weight. I think everyone that started anyway, and I think it was good.
Yeah, 100%. And I knew because I think he's such a nice guy, and you can tell he wants to improve and that he wants to be a good player. And I was actually speaking to somebody at the Hibs Women Motherwell game, and they were saying, you look at him when he played for Rotherham, and he's sort of becoming that player again to me. I think his performances in the last couple of games have been getting better, and I just hope that he continues to get better, because I do think there's a good footballer in Joe Newell. And hopefully it just keeps growing. And I think I've noticed that Maloney's tweaking the midfield, and I think him and JDH know that maybe their places aren't safe with Henderson, and when McGuinness becomes fit again. So, which we don't know when that's going to be actually. But if McGuinness, I think it's an if more than when. And if McGuinness is fit enough to play again, then they know that their places aren't safe. And I think that's why they're stepping up. But I think fair play to him, and JDH as well. He actually did have one of his better games, just as a sort of. I wouldn't say unsung hero, but I would say that he did have one of his better games. Another player that I think was being a bit off the pace. And I think even though Doidge looked off the pace when he was going forward, he was still trying to get there. And it wasn't for one to try, if you see what I mean. He was trying. He was putting in an effort, but I think COVID, injury, it's not going to help him.
I didn't like to belittle players or talk bad about them after such a good performance, but I think Doidge is a yard off the pace, mate. To be honest. I think
even at that, he still wasn't bad. I mean, obviously, he should have had a goal.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He just done his job
in the middle.
I think, and it's like, and Nisbet the same. I think Nisbet had another relatively good game. I think he's improved a lot on his defensive side of play.
He has definitely.
I think he was tracking back, and I think he's doing a lot more of that stuff that there's a lot of fans have been frustrated about. So I think, I don't know. he done it against Livingston, he done it against Hearts. Hopefully he's had a word with Maloney and he said you need to add more of this to your game. And if he's playing in a 2 and the other person's scoring and he's contributing to the goals, I'm all right with that. I think like he is lazy at times, but I think the past couple of games he's actively been trying to improve that, and you can't take that away from him. He had a good game first half against Livingston on Saturday. He played relatively well on Tuesday night against Hearts, so it's an improvement for sure.
Yeah. So we'll talk about just before we go into the second half, we'll talk about Hearts' 2 penalty. Actually, there was one where I think some people need to read the rule book, but Hearts' 2 penalty claims. I'll talk about the first, which I thought Stevenson was absolutely heroic for this, is the first one, which to be fair, I think we got away with it there. The referee was looking right at it, and you can maybe argue that it was, you maybe argue it wasn't. It depends on what referee, but Stevenson obviously, Seawick's in the box, and Stevenson just bundles him over basically. I think Stevenson was trying to get to the ball first. Obviously didn't quite work. There was a clash of heads as well. And Civic goes down. So
I think it was it no Big Sims? I think it was Big Sims.
It was Sims, sorry, that's it. Sims.
I was trying to remember.
I don't know their players, eh?
I was listening to Long Bangers earlier on, and they said that for the first time in a long time they couldn't tell you most of the Hearts team, and that's true.
I could tell you. I couldn't and Gordon, and that was about it.
I couldn't tell you what Nathaniel Atkinson looks like, or Cammy Devlin looks like, or Toby Civic looks. I couldn't tell you what. But going back to your question, it's never a penalty. Never in a million years is that a penalty. The ball is there to be won. It's a shoulder barge with Stevenson, and Sims hits the deck. Now, I'd be embarrassed if my 6'2" striker gets bodied off Lewis Stevenson every day. I'd be embarrassed by it. Like it's not a penalty. Hearts fans need to take the maroon tinted specs off at times. As do we sometimes. I think we're a bit biased sometimes, but it's never a penalty in a million years.
I think a harsher referee would have given that. I think
100%.
If you had a Clancy or a Walsh or a Beaton, then they would have given that 100%.
On the flip side to that, a less inept linesman would have given that Hibs goal as a goal.
Yeah, well, that's true. Douglas Rossi would have given that as a Hibs goal as well.
It swings and roundabouts, really.
It is. I think decision. It's not evened itself out, to be honest. And then obviously second big one, because I just want to pick up that a lot of Hearts and Hibs fans obviously don't get the pass back rule very well, because a lot of them were saying it was a penalty. That's like what if the goalkeeper, even if the goalkeeper handles it outside the box, it's a sending off. It's not because obviously it's outside the box. So just please remember that, because I will say there was Hibs fans saying it as well. Second one is the supposed handball, with again Stevenson getting it in the net with the free kick. It's not for me, because he can't. He cannot stop the ball getting pelted off him there because of how fast it happened. It happened there. Now, if you look at the one in AFCON, if you were watching the AFCON semi-final between Burkina Faso and Senegal, that penalty call was made of a handball in Stevenson's, and that wasn't given either. But it was overturned by VAR if you watched the Burkina Faso-Senegal semi-final last night. So I think it's not a handball for me, because he couldn't have got it out the way. It doesn't hit him. His arm's not in an unnatural position. I think Scotty Allen's one, which still wasn't a handball 2 years ago, was worse than that. So yeah, no handball for me, and didn't even begin the penalty chat with the pass back, because read the rule book, and I will say that to the Hibs fans that said that as well. So what are your thoughts on the Stevenson handball? Obviously, Sports Scene, my least favourite programme now, saying it's a handball. But then again, I've got to say, Sports Scene, Leanne Crichton, only person that speaks any sense on that, and Joel Murray most of the time.
When you've got James McFadden, a serial career loser, saying it's a penalty, you know something's wrong. That's all. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty for me. It happens too quick, and Stevenson's rushed out. Boggett's hit off him. I think it was a smart decision from what Hearts done, booting the ball towards him, because I know they're aiming for the net and what have you, but I think if the shoe was on the other foot, I would be aiming for a defender there. If you're, as well as trying to put it in the net, if you can't get in the net, if it hits off a defender's arm, then you're claiming for it. But it's not a penalty. It's never a penalty. It's too quick. It's too quick a movement. It's not intentional either. It's more like ball played man rather than handball, if you know what I mean.
Aye, 100%. I've got to say that as well. But it's like I said, these things will even themselves out. I think we had a few. The referee was getting a few silly free kicks, but it's one of those games you wouldn't expect a derby without maybe a bit of divisive decisions like that. So it is what it is. But I think we'll now move on to so overall. I don't think either of them are penalties. I think the Stevenson one, a harsher referee would have given that, even though it isn't for me. But anyway, we'll move on to the second half. And obviously, in the second half, Hearts come into the game a bit more. They were getting to get more chances, but I still think we defended well. So, Charlie, what were your thoughts on the second half?
I can't really remember too much about the second half, to be honest, because I think we both matched each other, and I can only really remember that's probably because there's not really much from the game I can remember because of the excitement of it and just the atmosphere and what have you.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest thing I can remember from the second half is the chance that we had right at the end. To be honest, I think other than the pass back and what have you, which we've already spoken about, but I think the chance that we missed in the last kick of the game sums up the night. Really, really does sum up the night. I think if that falls to anyone other than Josh Campbell, that's a goal. And that's I'm not saying anything negative towards Campbell there. I think he looked better than normal when he came off the bench. I think he's got to hit it. He hit it straight at the defender. Hit it straight at Simic. Puts it anywhere else it's in. And then Nisbet's stretching for the rebound. He's never going to put that in it.
No, exactly. I think
in the heat of the moment, you're screaming at him, thinking you should have scored, but nah. But no, I think all in all, mate. I thought we were the better team. I know statistically Hearts were the better team, but actually watching the game, I think we were the more exciting team to watch because we actually looked to play football rather than the big negative hoofball that they always play. So no, I was. It's funny. I was disappointed that we got a draw because I thought we had more of the fair opportunities to score. I know Dabrowski had 4 saves and what have you, but I think if you look at Campbell's one, if you look at the disallowed one, if you look at, I can't even remember any of our shots. That's awful.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like I think we definitely looked the better team, and that's positive because I was so negative going into that thinking we're going to get pumped. I think I'd say 2-1 as the prediction, but I feared the worst.
Yeah.
Especially seeing the team with Dabrowski and go, I was like, here we go. It's not going to be a good night for us. But no, I think a point, mate, we'll take it. I do want to backtrack a wee bit before we get your... actually, you say your thoughts, and I've got a wee point I want to bring up.
Yeah, no, I think, to be honest, I thought the second half, your Hearts came into the game more. I think they began to grow into the game, but in the game, we're still matching them. And like I said, the defence were still absolutely solid. I think Big Rocky especially really came into the game in the second half. I think, yeah, Campbell, if he places his shot, it's going in the back of the... I was just thinking, I was like, imagine the scenes if he'd scored that. I mean, I would have been... Let's put it like this. I would have been lying at the bottom of the stairs in East Stand in a pool of my own blood after cracking my head open. Because, and it's not the first time I've fallen over in a derby either, I've got to say that. And you fell over at the women's derby at Tynecastle when Siobhan Hunter put that in, mainly out of laughter at her shushing the Jambos. But anyway, enough of that. I think, yeah, second half, not really much happened. I mean, of course, I think if it was on any other game, you'd remember sort of other moments because obviously it's the atmosphere and the buzz. And like I said, best atmosphere I've seen at Easter Road in a long, long time.
A long time.
And which was great to see. And I thought Block 7 were on point as well. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. The noise made and the tribute to Devon was fantastic as well. That they got organised. I said it in the last one, but again, fair play to everybody in the stadium. Well done. I think, and well done to the referee for stopping it as well, and for all the assistants and staff and players for joining in. I think it was fantastic. But second half, I've got to say, yeah, we were still solid. We had a chance to win it, which is why it's slightly disappointing. But a clean sheet and a point against them will take it because the form we were in heading into this game, it was one that could have very easily have been a very different outcome. So I'll take it. But I do think I wouldn't go as far as to say they were there for the takings. I do think those points were Hearts what had us on the ropes a bit, but at the same time, I do think we could have won the game. It's one of those ones where it could have finished up. It was going to be always going to be one of those games that could have finished up 3-2 either way, or the chances that were had, honestly. But I think you look at the disallowed goal, and you look at Campbell's, and if the disallowed goal was allowed to stand, and if Campbell had scored that, and Nisbet had got the rebound, then we could have won 2-0. It's as simple as that. But on the other side, some of the chances Hearts had, if Macy had been in goal, or if we'd made more mistakes, and I'm not criticising Matt, I just think that Dabrowski is not as inclined to get caught out as his near post as Matt Macy is. And that's not a slight at Matt. I just think that different goalkeepers have different sets of skills. Like Matt's an excellent shot stopper, but his distribution and how he commands his box is a bit off. Dabrowski, I thought, was an excellent shot. Dabrowski's more of an all-round goalkeeper for me, from what I've seen. Anyway, and I've seen in the Arsenal game as well. So I think you look at that and you go, well, on balance, I think a 0-0 draw is the fairest. I think it was a better game than the one at Tynecastle, I've got to say, though. Much better game. And from our point of view, and in terms of just a game of football as well. So, yeah, I've got to say 0-0. In the end, I'll take it. It's a clean sheet. It's a point. Some big performances out of our players. I'm really proud of the lads, I've got to say. They all really came together as a team, and I'm happy for Maloney as well that he got a good experience on his first derby in charge. And hopefully he can keep up his unbeaten run and maybe get a wee win at Tynecastle later on in the season. And overall, yeah, a special atmosphere as well, which was great. So I'm a happy man overall with it. And I thought second half, Hearts did come into it a bit more. We were still solid.
I think I was wanting to say that bit about the tribute for Devon. I think it was brilliant to see. And nice banner for Block 7. But I was wanting to touch on, Jack, briefly before the game. I know we're gone before the game, but what did you think of the, Ron Gordon talks about this match day experience, and we had Liam for Retro Video Club sing Hibs Heroes, then the wee gesture to the Hearts fans, which I thought was brilliant. And then we had Mixu come out, then we had the Piper. It felt like a proper big game feel. And obviously the fireworks and the display, whatever. But I was a bit let down that it was 9.5 time. I was hoping for, like another ex-player. Like it would have even been good to have Mixu at half time.
Yeah, I thought we could have shifted something a bit. I would have had Mixu at half time. I would have switched. So you would have got the boy for the Retro Video Club could have thought he was brilliant. Excellent rendition on the song, which you ruined my Instagram video, running in and going, "Come on, the cabbage," like that. But you ruined my Instagram video. But it was an excellent rendition. I was singing along, and I loved that. It was quite powerful for me because it was a song that I used to listen to with my granddad. So it was quite powerful for me to sing that, belt that out at a derby. Because I suppose it's like a second Hibs anthem by Sunshine on Leith, to be honest. Hibs Heroes, and I thought, yeah, that was excellent. And then of course the Jambos are booing him all the way through it, and he gives you a wee get it right up you. After which, you know what? It's warranted. Even Barry got a chuckle, and I seen Sean Maloney had a smirk on his face when he done that as well. Even Robbie Nielsen stifled a laugh when I saw some of the replays. I saw some of the video footage. Even Robbie Nielsen was stifling a laugh down on the bench. So it's good that you can have that banter element, because if that had been the old firm, we probably would have had about half the change in Glasgow launched at him. So I think you look at it like that. It shows that we're a derby, we can laugh at each other and it never turns nasty, or very rarely turns nasty. So I think that was good, because he was getting booed all the way through the song. So I think he had that. But yeah, I would have, and the Piper was excellent as well. That got me hyped up. And then I think, yeah, Mixu at half time would have been better. To be honest. So yeah, but I do think that it's good that we're organising these sorts of things. So I hope to see more of that. Like I'd like to see maybe like some of maybe like an ex-2016 winning cup winning player come out that's not with us anymore, like Fraser Fivey, or even David Gray coming on to do a wee talk when we play Rangers, or a big game, a player that did something big against Celtic coming out. Just anybody but Slivka, please, to be honest. Coming out when we play Celtic, I think things like that are really, really good. So yeah, I was actually happy with the pre-match stuff. It really got me hyped up, and I liked the fire as well. When the teams came out, and the display was brilliant for Block 7 as well. I know the club had a lot of hand in helping organise that. Obviously, the club have to sanction that, and I know there was a lot of coordination there. So I think overall, yeah, it got me hyped up. And like I said, it was a special atmosphere. And I was feeling, I know a lot of folk that know me, listen to the podcast, and listen, I was feeling a bit down going into the derby. I hadn't been having a good time of it mental health wise. So to come in and just have such a good night and get all the pre-match build up and then enjoy the atmosphere was the main thing for me, irrespective of what happened on the pitch. But I really enjoyed my night, and I think it was a proper atmosphere. One we haven't seen at Easter Road in many years. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Now we'll very quickly before we go on to St Mirren, because we've got a few things to get out of the way before we finish up for tonight. So we'll very quickly sort of talk about the substitutions, just touch on them. Do you think Maloney substitute? Do you think they were particularly positive subs, or do you think we were settling for a draw at that point? What were your sort of views on the subs, Charlie?
Just they were strange. Don't know really what else he could have done though. To be fair, the bench is obviously better because there's more on it. But I don't know. Like it is what it is. Like I've probably maybe I've seen Jasper come on, but I realised he signed the day before, so he's probably bedding in. Or to be honest, mate, no complaints.
Nah, I'm the same, to be honest. I think Mueller for Dre Wright was the only option really. I would have liked to have seen Jasper, but you've got to consider he just signed the day before. He maybe not ready. Well, it was good to see him on the bench, and I liked his interview. But I think, I've got to say the subs were all right, to be honest, and they were what Maloney did what he had to do, and he did it at the right time as well. Finally, just before we move on to St Mirren, if what we seen last on Tuesday night was Maloney ball, are you happy with it?
Aye. Go with aye. I think it's obviously positive. Like I think I really like the way we passed the ball about. Just because like I know some people moan that we go backwards in that, but I think on Tuesday it really worked because I think there was no fans getting on their back. I think that's key for this style of play. If we can just, I know if we're going back to keeper too much, then you obviously are right to boo and whatever. But I think, or right to get frustrated. I didn't advocate booing, but I think I think it's good, mate. I think it's obviously still a work in progress. I think some fans need to remember that he's only been here just over a month. Nearly a month now. So it's a work in progress. It's only his like 5th or 6th game, so it'll come. I'm not too concerned. You look at Ange, Celtic battered Rangers, and he's only been here just over 6 months. So it's coming. We're due someone doing sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I was happy with it. I thought we played some good football, and we were actually, for once in a derby, nice to watch. Usually I'm hiding behind my seat in a derby or refusing to look. But I thought we played some nice football, and we did what we needed to do. So our next game after the big Edinburgh Derby is obviously we're playing St Mirren. I don't think we can really call them Hibs B anymore since Jack Ross has left. Obviously, we've not had the best record against St Mirren this season. Obviously, 2 draws in there, 2-2 Easter Road, and then the 1-1, which was David Gray's first game in charge against them at the Simpson Stadium. So this is a must-win because we've been winless in 4, and Motherwell taking on Celtic, which I think Celtic will win. So huge chance for us to go 4th. Charlie, what are your thoughts going into the game?
I think it's one we can take a bit of confidence in based on our performance the other night. And I think it's one that we probably should be looking to win. As is every other game. We should be looking to win every game we play. But I think, I think with them losing McGrath, I think obviously he was probably their best player. And that's not really saying too much. But I think, I think it's probably one we need to go in with a bit of confidence. Eamon Brophy's injured for them, so I don't know who their other striking options are. But, like player like that, he was dangerous against us back the other month there at Easter Road. So, I think it's one that we should have a bit of confidence going into. I think, it's one I'm excited. I'm actually looking forward to it for a change. I never usually am excited to go and watch Hibs at Easter Road, especially in games like St Mirren.
Oh yeah, they're tough. They're usually tough.
Usually tough to watch. But no, I think I'm excited for Saturday, mate. I think we'll win.
Yeah, St Mirren are a team that I think they do make it tough for us. We've not got the best record against them at Easter Road. You've seen a few times we've struggled against them, but I think I'm confident because for me, if we can play that sort of football but have an end product to it, we can batter teams like St Mirren. I think 3 or 4 nil if we take a chance, if we can get a bit of end product. I'm not saying that to disrespect St Mirren at all, because I think they're a very good team and Goodwin's a good manager. But I think if we have an end product to what we're doing, we can easily do these things. And I've been saying it all season. We are due someday doing if we have an end product. So I think play similar football, keep the solidity that we had in the derby, and just have an end product to it, and we're good to go. So we'll talk about lineup. Obviously, are we going to go with the same team with some minor adjustments, or what would you do, Charlie? Very briefly, talk about what we do.
Very similar team, except I drop Doige and I bring Dimitri Mitchell in for the start. Not to replace Doige, but no, I think that would be. I would keep the same team. I think obviously everyone played for the jersey against Hearts, so I'd like to see us keep that going in every game. Doesn't matter who we're playing. We should treat every game as a big game. No, I think I would. There's obviously talks that Melkerson's ready. I'd start him. I really would start him. Him and Nisbet up front. We'll see what happens. So that would be my team. I don't know. Because if Mitchell plays, who comes out of the team? Probably Doig, but they're very, very similar players. I think Mitchell's obviously faster, but I think Mitchell for Doig and Melkerson for Doig is probably my two changes.
Yeah, if Melkerson can play, I'd like to see him start. If he's fit, which the rumours circling that Maloney said he could feature, even if that's on the bench, I'd like to see him come off the bench. I don't think Jasper will start, because I don't think, obviously, you'd want to dislodge anybody after the derby, because they all played really well. But I'd like to see Jasper feature. I'd like to see him come on at some point, because the way he was talking in his interview about how he's direct and he wants to score goals and he's an attack-minded player, he's making all the right noises. So I would like to see him play. Now, obviously, Gogic, he's on loan, so he can't play against us. I don't think he's.
I wonder if that. Yeah, that
applies. Yeah. I'm sure that applies. He's not. Yeah, I'm sure that applies to us, because obviously we got Doherty on a similar deal and he couldn't start against Rangers. So yeah, I think Gogic is subject to the same rules. So obviously Gogic can't play, but even if he did, I don't think he'd be a problem for us, to be honest.
Nah.
So going quickly, get score predictions, Charlie, before we talk about Hibs, and then we've got a little news segment. So, Charlie, what's your score prediction?
4-0 Hibs. I think we're due. I think we're due someone doing it. I think it's coming on Saturday. At 4-0 Hibs.
I'm going to say 3-0 Hibs. So we'll talk about Hibs women now. So obviously Hibs women are away to Aberdeen. Going up north to play Aberdeen. So we're already 10 points above Aberdeen in the table. Obviously, we're just sitting fourth now. I don't think thirds, because Celtic are way out in front. But are you confident heading into that game, Charlie, against Aberdeen? Obviously, we've had 2 meetings with them before this season, a 1-0 win over them against them in the league, and then a 2-0 win against them in the League Cup quarter-final. So are you confident?
I think if we want to solidify fourth, mate, we have to be confident going into it. Obviously, coming off the back of a good win against St John, albeit St Johnstone league below us. But no, I think we've got every right to be confident going into it. Personally, I think it'll be a hard game. I think Aberdeen will make it difficult for us. But no, I think the girls should be confident going into it.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a game we can win. Aberdeen made it difficult for us, but I think even that 1-0 game, that was our best performance all season, just in terms of how solid we were. And then the 2-0 in the League Cup quarter-final was good as well. So I think, yeah, we've proven we can beat Aberdeen. It is going to be a tough game, but we'll get there. I think we'll put in a good performance. So very quickly, talking about the lineup, do you think we'll see the same team that played St Johnstone, or are we going to see ex-Aberdeen player Jenna Penman run out against them and make her Hibs debut?
I think she'll be on the bench. I don't think she'll start, but I think it'll be the same team. I'd like to see Tony get off the bench again.
Yeah.
But apart from that, mate, I think consistency is key with the girls. I think, and the men actually as well. I think, although I did advocate for 2 subs, but no, I think consistency is key. So keep the same team.
I agree. We've got to keep the same team, just consistent. I think Dean knows his best starting 11 now, but I would like to see Jenna Penman play against their old teams. I think she could cause them a lot of problems. So I think we'll all be high on confidence. I think we've got a good squad. I'd actually like to see Tony start, because she started against Aberdeen in the League Cup quarter-final with Shannon McGregor, and they made quite a formidable midfield pair, and I thought that was the best I'd seen us play midfield for quite a while. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, very quickly, Charlie, score predictions for Aberdeen.
3-1 Hibs.
I'm going to go 2-0 Hibs again. And I think Alexa will get both goals. I think she'll go on a run again. So we've got a brand new segment just to finish us up for today, and that is the High B quiz, where we test each other's Hibs trivia. Now, because I would already know these questions, because I have an encyclopedic Hibs knowledge, and quite a niche Hibs knowledge as well, we decided that I'll ask Charlie the questions because it'd be unfair otherwise. So we're going to test Charlie.
It is important to note that Calvin had prepared this on the basis that he was hoping to be here tonight, so it would have been me up against Jack. And
I would have pumped you, so
probably
it's better that it's done this way. So yeah, it was. Oh yeah. So anyway, we just thought we'd explain that. So we'll get the first question. So Hibs were the first British club ever to play in European competition. The first ever match was against German side Rot-Weiss Essen. What was the score?
Oh yeah, fucker. I think they beat.
I know this, but and I wasn't looking. I already knew this because my granddad went on about this game as well.
I think they beat us 2-1. No.
4-0 Hibs, a double from Eddie Turnbull, from Laurie Riley, and Willie Ormond helped Hibs to a famous victory, and the fans still weren't happy. No, I'm kidding. So there you go. There you go. So
probably true, to be fair.
So there you go. No, I already knew the answer to that one, but it's interesting we played Rot-Weiss Essen, of course, right down the divisions now. Just a bit of trivia. They're in the Regionalliga West in Germany, which is the 4th division. So they've had a bit of a fall from grace. But back then they'd won the German national championship, so they were a pretty big team.
But they couldn't beat the Hibs though.
They couldn't beat the Hibs because we were bigger. But yeah, so that was Hibs. It turned out we played just a bit of trivia for you, just a bit of a more onto that, since it's Hibs and German football too, things that I've got encyclopedic knowledge on. Here's a bit. Hibs have played 3 West German teams, 1 East German teams. We've beat all of them. Beat Borussia Dortmund on a pre-season tour. We beat Hamburg. I think that was in a European competition. We obviously beat Rot-Weiss Essen. And then from East Germany, we put out Lokomotiv Leipzig in the 1968 Intercity Fairs Cup. So Hibs have played opposition from both East and West Germany. So there you go. So our second question, from 2004 to 2009, how many goals did Stephen Fletcher score for Hibs?
Oof. That's a good question, isn't it? Calvin expects a lot of things of us here, no? I'm trying to think, because he was our top scorer for a few years on that. From 2004 to 9, you said?
Yes. I feel like Alexander Armstrong and pointless.
I think he scored 47.
Oh, you were close. You were close. It's 43.
Oh, yeah.
It's 40. You're not doing the. Now, here's one that I didn't know, but I really should have known. But I feel guilty about this. From under 15 to first team, how many Scotland caps does Siobhan Hunter have? Now, I didn't know. Given that she's my favourite player, now it's multiple choice.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I should have known this because she's my favourite player, and of course, Siobhan Hunter HSC. But anyway, is it A 43, B 53, or C 33?
33, surely.
You're wrong again, Charlie.
Is it?
43.
Ah, you bastard.
I didn't know that. I would have, if I was to guess, I would have said 53 because she's been capped a lot at youth level by Scotland.
Oh, so you're right.
She's been capped a lot, especially at 19s. So yeah.
Sack the board.
Charlie, you've been done. You've been done. So on that note, Charlie knows nothing about Hibs. Thank you for listening, guys. We'll see you on Monday for a review of Aberdeen, Hibs women against Aberdeen, review at Hibs men's, hopefully winning against St Mirren, and we'll have much more Hibs chat as well as another Hibs quiz, and hopefully I won't be in the hot seat, so I'll have a chance to beat Charlie again. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Glory to the Hibs. Hey,